All right, everybody. Welcome in and welcome back. Season 4, Episode 4, aka our 117th show. Andy, do you recognize where we are today?
I don't. Season 4, Episode 4, 117th show. What's so significant about that?
I literally just leaned to the side so you could see my background.
You know, I was going to say that was Michigan State's stadium only because
Nope.
you were wearing something green. I was like, oh, this must be Spartan Stadium. And it's not.
It is
It's
not.
definitely not. Where
It
is
is
this at? Is
that
this Valencia?
no, this is St. James's Park.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, this is going to bring some good memories back for you when we recount the Champions League. That's a pretty nice
Absolutely.
stuff over there.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, why don't you get into it leading up to that
Yeah.
week? Because that's when I was kind of all plastered on my phone, is seeing and hearing the news from what had happened in Newcastle, which was a big event for them to
Yeah.
host the
Absolutely.
biggest club in Spain.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Real Madrid fans might have something to say about that, but I would agree.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I don't care about Real Madrid fans
no,
right now. I care
no.
about Barcelona fans.
Yeah,
So,
me either. I never care about Real Madrid fans. But yeah, just
haha.
want to apologize to the listeners real quick. I did want to pod last week, but with Andy traveling, was also traveling and getting over a sickness. We had to kind of postpone that to this week. So thank you for bearing with us on that. But we have a lot of soccer to get to, so let us get into it. So Barcelona played 3 games since we last chatted, Andy. So the first one was in a La Liga fixture against Valencia, and Barcelona ended up Vulcan punching Valencia for all of our Star Trek fans out there.
Amazing.
6-0. So yeah, it was actually 3 separate braces, Andy. A brace from Fermin, one from Raphinha, and one from Lewandowski. So
Wow.
2 goals each for them. Rashford gets his first goal contribution for Barcelona in the regular season, the main season, not the preseason. He had a beautiful through ball into Raphinha for one of his goals. It was a very Barcelona result. You know, Barcelona has now scored 13 goals in the last 2 games against Valencia, Andy.
There's like teams where you just feel very good at when you are able to go against them. I had this all the time, like in baseball or basketball, where it was like, we just know this team and we just know we're going to kind of beat them.
Yeah.
It sounds like Valencia is that team for Barcelona right now.
Yeah.
Because 13 goals in 2 games, that's insane.
Yes. Yeah, it really is. And yeah, it was one of those games where we kind of dominated possession. We created a ton of chances. It was fun. It was fun. It was quintessential Barcelona under Hansi Flick ball, as they're calling it. And yeah, I mean, there's not much more else to say about it. It was just a very enjoyable game, good bounce back after the international break. And yeah, and then
That's great.
Barcelona ended up going up against Newcastle in the first round of the Champions League, Andy. So Newcastle hosted at St. James's Park, and that is where the background comes from.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I specifically found this one because I thought the stadium looked sick in the lead up to the game. I think Newcastle did an excellent job hosting. The atmosphere was incredible.
It really is a really impressive atmosphere, which is kind of why we want to see, and you want to see Newcastle and Sunderland and all these like places that have big stadiums and crazy massive followings being able to kind of be on the biggest stage. And
Yeah.
the Newcastle fans did not disappoint. The Barcelona fans who traveled did not disappoint
No.
coming into this.
Did
So
you
so it's
see
all big.
Did you see where the Barcelona fans were for this game? They
My
were
guess is nosebleeds, if there
Yeah.
ever were nosebleeds. Yeah.
It was so high up in the corner in this tiny little section. And I watched videos of Barcelona fans walking the steps. It looked like it was like 200 steps to get to their seats. It was hilarious.
It's so
But you
far
could actually
away.
hear Barcelona fans during the game, especially after Barcelona went up 2-0. But let's talk about the game. So Barcelona ended up nipping Newcastle 2-1. Newcastle came out very strong, pressing high. Barcelona was able to pass around the press, and then Newcastle had to fall back because they couldn't keep up that pressure throughout the entirety of the game. I think they started the first and second halves quite well for the first 10 to 15 minutes, but then Barcelona
Mm-hmm.
settled in both halves and looked like the better team. I mean, it was an absolute masterclass from Pedri and De Jong in that
Mm-hmm.
two midfield pivot. They were just dancing around Newcastle the whole night. I mean, there was one point where Pedri held the ball for like 45 seconds by himself, just dancing around anywhere between 2 to 5 Newcastle players at a time.
Jeez. Wow.
It was nuts. And
Like no
I
one can
think,
get the ball off him. Yeah.
no, it was amazing. And I think the cool thing is this was, it was a very solid game from Pedri. It wasn't even his best game, but it was the reaction from a lot of Premier League fans who were able to watch this game because it was hosted in Newcastle, being able to see the masterclass that is Pedri. And Paul
Yeah.
Scholes even tweeting out that Pedri is his new favorite player.
Wow.
And it's just like, I mean, we've talked about it. So you've heard it from me over and over and over again how great Pedri is. But it's really
Mm-hmm.
great to see other fans getting to experience how amazing he is. I mean, he was just
Yeah.
fantastic. So, but 0-0 after the first half, good game from both teams. And then it sounded like, I couldn't find multiple sources on it, but it sounded like at halftime, Raphinha challenged Rashford in the
Hmm.
locker room and told him, you're not doing enough, you need to step up and do more offensively, create more. I thought Rashford played decently in the first half, but he came out, it was like he came out a different player in the second half.
Hmm.
So there was a play, Barcelona got bodies in the box, ball gets played back to Koundé on the right side, he crosses it in, finds Rashford for a header, beautiful headed goal down into the bottom left hand corner. Rashford gets his first goal for Barcelona. Barcelona's up 1-0. And 7-8 minutes later, Rashford gets a clearance that kind of goes off of him. He controls it, takes a couple of touches around the defender from outside the box, bar down. Goalie has absolutely no chance. And it's bedlam for Barcelona. I mean, it was,
You got a what
I,
do you get a rash smash? A rash smash.
yes,
That's one of his things. Is
yes.
outside of the box, just kind of almost like a knuckleball, but he just like
Mm-hmm.
hits it so well that it just kind of just dips, swerves, and doesn't curve, just dips and swerves, and it's delicious. It's delicious.
Yes. Yes, it really is. And I think one of my favorite things watching Rashford is watching him smile. He has a fantastic smile and he looks so happy for Barcelona and I absolutely love it. So he was the difference maker in this game. It was his 2 goals. Lamine Yamal actually ended up getting hurt on international duty, so he was not able to
Mm.
play in this game for Barcelona. So here was my thing though, Andy, is even with Lamine Yamal hurt, if he had been healthy, I would have wanted Rashford to start this game. And the reason why is because he knows Newcastle better than anybody on Barcelona because of how many years he's played in the Premier League. He knows the style. He knows kind of how the Premier League game works. And
Mm.
that's why I wanted him to start regardless, because I'm like, he's going to be, I think, the most effective player for Barcelona against this team.
Sure. Yeah, because he has the pace, and even just from my recollection when he was at United, he's had pretty decent games against Newcastle. I can remember back in the pandemic, there was one where I think United ended up winning. This was under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he's cutting in off the left, and he's waiting for Bruno Fernandes to make his run. Bruno Fernandes finishes his run outside of Rashford, and Rashford perfectly times it to lay it off as Bruno slots it home there. So just to kind of put an example of just what it kind of means for Rashford to be back in Newcastle, to be back in England, I think he definitely had a point to prove in this game. It seemed
Yeah,
like to me, I don't know if you felt that, where
100%.
both from Raphinha and just coming back and playing against Newcastle in the Champions League, that
Yeah,
was a big marker for him to lay down.
absolutely. And Tommy Tuchel was in the stands, the new English national team manager, so he had to impress, and I think he's done that. Yep,
Doing the
yep,
TT
TT.
for Tommy Tuchel.
Yep, TT. Yeah. So It was, I mean, it was great. I think, other than the defensive lapse towards the end of the game, giving up a stoppage time goal, other than that, Barcelona played a very clean game. Joan Garcia played great. I mean, it has been such a breath of fresh air to have a young athletic goalie be able to make plays. I mean, I
Mm,
love Chesney. I think he's great. He is just older. And Ter Stegen has had so many injuries, he just doesn't have spring left, really.
mm,
So
mm,
to see an athletic goalkeeper make plays, be able to distribute out of the back, not run into his defenders when coming out to play sweeper keeper, that's a
yeah.
throwback to Chesney in the Spanish Super Cup final
Mm,
last year.
mm,
Oh no, I think it was a Champions League. One of the two. It happened more times than I care to count. So, but yeah, it's just been nice. He's been really great, and it's been great to see him kind of be that wall behind the defenders, and it allows us when we play that high line to have more confidence in it, which is really
yeah,
nice.
I was going to ask like what that brings for you and what you like specifically of having a goalkeeper being strong. If it is just someone who's always going to claim out on the box, do you feel someone who's going to be more secure at the ball? That was going to become my question of like what do you think that does to a defense when you have a solid goalkeeper?
Yeah, I think it allows the defense to be aggressive. I mean, Barcelona already plays a high line, a very aggressive line. So you kind of already have that sense of it, but I think they can be more aggressive in trying to get the opposing team off the ball and win back possession because they know they have a keeper that they can rely on who's going to step up and make a save. And he
Hmm.
hasn't been perfect, no goalie is, right? But I think they can pass the ball back to him with confidence. I think the biggest thing too is he's coming out on corners more than I think both Chesney and Ter Stegen combined. So these corners
Yeah,
that are
that's
getting
big.
crossed in the box, he's getting hands on it. He's getting punches on it. He's clearing a lot of the danger, and I think that's an area where Barcelona sometimes struggles is defending corners because we're not a very tall team. But I think we did a great job of that, especially against Newcastle, where their height definitely played a factor on some of these free kicks and some of these corners. And I think both the defense and Joan Garcia did a great job of defending it.
Yeah. Well, and then if that's like kind of their that confidence there, because I don't feel like you necessarily need to be the tallest, but you just have to be the most in command of that area.
Yeah.
And if you're able to have a goalkeeper specifically who will come out and claim anything, that's huge
Yeah.
for Barcelona. So they passed
Yeah.
that. So they passed that same James's Park test
Yes.
for you at least in the Champions League.
For sure. I think the only thing I'm worried about following that game is Ronald Araujo's passing. Defending, I think he
Hmm.
played well. There were multiple times in the game where Barcelona was possessing the ball and the ball gets played to him and he just kicks it forward to no one in
Hmm.
particular. Clear turnover. I think he's lacking confidence in his passing, and I think he needs to get that back. He is hurting.
Yeah.
He is hurting Barcelona in that regard. Pau Cubarsí also tweaked his patellofemoral ligament in this game against Newcastle. Had to come out in the 65th minute. Sounds like
Ouch.
he's more or less okay. It was just more precautionary than anything. He felt some discomfort. So, but it's without Inigo Martinez, Ronaldo Araujo has to step up. He has to distribute the ball better. So we're going to keep an eye on that
Yeah.
moving forward. Speaking of moving forward, Andy, let's get to the last game Barcelona played since we last chatted. Barcelona played
Hmm.
Getafe, and they ended up grinding down Getafe 3-0. Again, no Yamal, no problem. Ferran
Hmm.
Torres ended up getting a brace. Two really nice goals, Andy. Raphinha played a through ball to Danny Olmo behind the defense. I don't even know how he saw Danny Olmo because Danny Olmo was like 30 yards from him to make this
Wow.
run. Pass into the box. Danny Olmo, quick look over the shoulder, one time back heel to Ferran Torres, who off of the one hop slots it home for a goal. As a team goal, I think it is the leading candidate for goal of the year so far.
Wow. Best goals so far. Yeah. Just
Yes.
from the sound of it, how it was all like interwoven and intertwined for that. Just that nice one touch play. Love seeing that. Love seeing when just
Yes.
everyone's on the same connection. Because usually that happens when everyone's on the same flow. Everyone's getting what the other wants to do.
For sure.
I've not experienced that at playing just yet.
Sure.
But I can I remember feeling it when I was training, of people feeling a little bit on the same wavelength. So having that just makes it feel even better.
For sure. Yeah. And then later in that first half, off of a Getafe corner, Eric Garcia gets a really nice clear. I don't know how he sees Raphinha, but he clears like a 40, 50-yard ball over the top to Raphinha, who barely stayed on side in his own
Wow.
half. Raphinha plays a kind of lob through ball to Ferran Torres, who takes one touch and outside the box, one-on-one with goalie, with defenders kind of crashing down on him, looks off the defender on the far post, comes back to the left near post, slots it
Mm.
home, 2-0, another brace for Ferran Torres. So for those of you keeping track at home, that is 5 braces in the last 3 games for Barcelona.
Jeez. Their high functioning, high powered offense, it's coming back into gear. I mean, this is what we
Yep.
saw last year with them.
Yep.
They have the offense to kind of get any goal, and it's going to be if their defense can make sure that they don't concede. At least that's how
Yes.
I kind of thought. Do you feel the same, Paul?
Say your question again.
Yeah, so the question is, Barcelona seems like it is more of an offensive team than a defensive team.
For
As
sure.
in, that I think it's probably the stronger feeling is that Barcelona are going to get a goal versus that a team is not going to be able to get a goal against Barcelona. That's kind of how I think of it. But I don't know. What do you think? You watch it
Oh
way
yeah.
more than wait. Okay.
100%. 100%. Full bore, balls to the wall, 100% on offense. Hansi Flick is going to take chances. He is going to be willing to give up 1, 2, 3 goals a game because he knows Barcelona is going to be capable of scoring 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 goals in a game because we've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, so he does not care if we give up. I mean, I shouldn't say he doesn't care. He's willing to take the risk of giving up goals to give Barcelona the best chance to score more goals.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
very exciting. It is great to be a fan of this team because they're fun to watch. Even when
Yeah.
they play this risky style, it's a fun to watch because something is always happening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because you were saying even in the Valencia game and the Newcastle game, kind of like touchy for a little bit,
mhm.
but they're going to kick it into gear and make it happen.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And then for the third goal, there was a through ball played behind a Rashford. That's something I've noticed Barcelona is doing more, is they're playing more long diagonals to Rashford and kind of letting him use his pace, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of, they did that a lot with Raphinha last year that I really liked. And I think they're willing to, we like to play shorter passes, kind of be opportunistic possessing the ball, but I think they're willing to let Rashford and Raphinha kind of get behind the defense
Mm-hmm.
with their pace. And so it was beautiful long ball. He kind of runs onto it, holds it up, waits for people to get there, plays a pass through a defender's leg to Dani Olmo, who slots the ball home. Beautiful
Mm-hmm.
goal.
Yeah.
Beautiful goal. So Rashford over his last 3 games has 2 goals, 2 assists.
Yeah. There was also something I heard about the Getafe game as well from Rashford. Did you hear anything about this, or did you want to go into that a little bit more?
Go for it. I did not.
So what I had heard was that actually Rashford didn't start on that first half of the Getafe game
Yes.
because he was late for either a practice or late for a meeting.
Yes.
Did you hear anything about that, Paul?
I heard it in kind of the lead up to the game / like early stages of the game. So Hansi Flick has a 0 tolerance policy. If anybody is late to any team function, then they're not starting in the next game. And the same
Mm-hmm.
thing actually happened with Raphinha in the Valencia game. So the same thing.
Oh,
So
okay.
he actually came on in the second half and had a brace in just a half of football in that game. So it was kind of the same thing. It's not new. Why people are, still showing up late, I don't know. But you're either getting benched for the whole game or you're getting benched for half the game. That's what it is with Hansi Flick. You take your lumps,
Mm-hmm.
say your apologies, and then you get out there and you play again.
Yeah, which I love. I'm even for Hansi Flick even being harsher if he needs to be for that, because
Yeah.
at least from my end, not that I'm saying I was looking forward to this happening. I absolutely was not. I wanted Rashford to be back fit and firing. No, seriously, like
Yeah.
I have nothing but respect for Marcus Rashford, and I get where he's at, and I understand it. I'm sure he is absolutely, burnt out from United,
Hmm.
which has got to be a horrible feeling. But there is some credence to the thought of, oh, he was mentioned that he was not as professional as
Hmm.
he should be at Manchester United, and that was the question. And you're seeing that pop up here in Barcelona.
Sure.
So to me, this is what I had heard, and I do sort of agree with this, is that this does bode well for Ruben Amorim in his own way of controlling the dressing room at Old Trafford, and a little bit of what he had said about Rashford,
Hmm.
that he needs to fight for his place, and if he does, like, thinking it's just going to be a cakewalk for him when he comes into Barcelona is going to be a whole different ball game.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
way, having that kind of does strengthen Ruben Amorim's position, and saying, "No, I was right. Rashford does come in late.
Hmm.
Rashford does not always give the most professional, you know, isn't always the most professional at all times." So
Yeah.
I completely get the idea of getting rid of that for, I completely get it for getting rid of that in the team if you're trying to create a different culture.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and like I mentioned, Hansi Flick, zero tolerance. Happened to Raphinha a couple games ago. Happened to Kunde twice last year. It players, even these stars are showing up late, and when it happens, Hansi's like, I don't care who you are, you're sitting.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
there are no exceptions.
yeah. I personally, I just like it because I think about, everybody else that is either going to watch United or going to watch Barcelona. They have to be on time for their jobs Monday through Friday.
Yep.
And if they're not on time for their jobs, serious consequences. This is
Yep.
Rashford's job. He doesn't turn up on time. That's going to be the serious consequence, like every other individual who goes to either pay for his shirt or pay for his chance to play is going to be there. So
Yep.
I'm very much for Hansi Flick's
Yep.
policy there. So, and I think,
One hundred
honestly,
percent.
I think Rashford does respect it,
Yeah,
and I'd be curious to see if this continuously happens again,
for sure.
for that. But I think this one, I th- I'm hopeful it's a one and done for him.
Me too. Me too, for sure. So, but yeah, Andy, that is it for Barcelona. Let's get to United. I know that we had a derby since the last time we talked. I don't know if we're getting
We
into that today, but
we
wanted to hear your
did.
thoughts on United.
I'll get slightly into it only
Okay,
because this was kind of like, this seemed to be like sky is falling kind of derby. At least from,
sure.
I didn't watch it. I was in mid-flight, heading back from Ireland
Okay.
to this, so didn't get a chance. And when I landed and hearing the news, I just kind of put it away because the circus and the storm had already media storm had happened,
Hmm.
of talking about how out of depth Ruben Amorim is, how the system doesn't bring out the best in his players, how there's still so many problems, which there are still problems, and yes, Amorim's system may be causing some and not helping as much as they are, but in general, kind of hearing this from, what was it, the third or the fourth week in the Premier League season,
Hmm.
when United has statistically, theoretically, via Opta, the hardest schedule in the Premier League this year, the hardest 5 opening matches
Right.
for a team that's just trying to understand and get to know each other, is very difficult. Even though it's a Manchester City team that's not at its full height and has some teething problems, they're still a much better team, a much better squad than United.
Yeah,
So,
and I think to that point too, you you mentioned it. City had not played well up to that point, right? So they're looking for their get back game. It's a derby. You know that they're going to show up for the game.
yeah.
It was their get back game. You know.
Yeah. I think that was the biggest thing that I heard, was just the overall aggression was not
Yeah.
there. And that is
Yeah.
a big thing for United, is you just have to be aggressive. I think people will understand if you charge into a player and you're late and you catch a yellow card, but you're doing it because everybody else on your team is doing it to make sure everyone knows this means more,
Yeah.
then that's good. They'll get applause, you'll get cheers for the effort. And that wasn't apparently there at Manchester City. So obviously that brought huge questions on Ruben Amorim. So
Hmm.
we had a whole week of just knowing what's going to happen with Amorim. And I think
Yep.
What ended up happening at Chelsea really helped, or
Yeah.
is really helping in the long term. So to get to that point, United end up winning and beating Chelsea 2-1 at home after kind of a series of, well, kind of a crazy match, I would say. Within the fourth minute, we have a red card from a goalie.
Yep.
So Robert Sanchez from Chelsea comes out and fouls um, Brian Mbumo. Apparently, there was some speculation on the internet thinking that that was hard done by, and you look at it and
No.
it's like, this is the
No.
clearest. It's a clear
Yes.
and obvious red
A hundred
for
percent.
that.
Yes.
So some people to think that is kind of wonky in my opinion. Um,
Trolls, man. Trolls.
big trolls. But I won't go into it so much. I'll give the quick highlight of a little bit later. Bruno Fernandes scores, pressing or getting up higher on the pitch, followed by Casemiro, who then follows his second goal with a red card or a second yellow or a red card to
At the end of the
keep the
first half.
match at the end of the first half to keep the match even in terms of playing
Ugh.
numbers, but us only up two.
Did you think
Chelsea.
that was harsh, or did you think it was fair? The second yellow.
I mean, I didn't see the first yellow, and looking back, I thought it was a little bit harsh, but at the same time, it's a if you're on a yellow, making that and grabbing and kind of being so over somebody in today's game is going to get you a foul. So
Yep.
I think there was more of like, don't lose your head in knowing that you didn't have to.
Yeah.
Plus, the additional thing is seeing that he's not really saving a counterattack. It's not like it's
Right.
a last person
Yep.
that he has to kind of grab and grapple with. It
Yes.
is. He's got his three defenders behind him in decent order, and he's trying to marshal that player out. So
Yep.
completely get it from the idea of if the idea was to be aggressive against Chelsea and he is a little bit over aggressive, that's okay. To me, that's okay. In the general aspect of it, just don't get caught, basically.
Yeah.
And he got
Yeah.
caught. So
Yep.
I think that's what happened there. But all this to say, I think the keys to the game for me against Chelsea was one, the aggression that we had from the outset and
Mm-hmm.
getting that first
Agreed.
goal. I think that
Agreed.
really does change how United think about a game because if they don't, that's where they struggle. And I think that's our next step in our development is what happens when we go out of the gates blazing for the first 15 minutes and realize we didn't get a goal and we should have gotten a goal. How do they change their tactics? How do they stop attacks from the opposing team? How do they start attacking the opposing team? So I think that's the next stage in the development. But it feels good from where it was at, where people were questioning Ruben Amorim's job, and to now people saying, "Well, wait a minute. Actually, United have had the most, chances created in the Premier League this season, even with the hardest schedule." So now you see how this circus kind of goes. As soon as something bad happens, boom. But if the other thing happens, then it's a turnaround, and Ruben Amorim's a genius.
Yeah.
All that to say, it is a good week to be a United fan this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So yeah, I would agree. I think tough schedule plus trying to figure out how to play as a team under Amarim's system with the new signings, like you just got to give people time. I mean, I heard people talking about, well, Amarim was signed November 12th or whatever last year. That'll be his 1 year, and then he's done after that. Like it'll be right after the international break or what. And I'm just like, what?
yeah, I don't
Like
see it. Even
that Russell
yeah,
Westbrook gif. What?
yeah, like huh, like
Yeah.
yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I don't see it, and I definitely don't see it now. I think if United had lost against Chelsea, the writing would be on the wall because he does have a really bad record. For everything that he's doing, he has a really bad record. And like, yes, you can and do need a little bit more time, but that record's pretty bad. So that if they did get rid of him, I couldn't complain. I would just
Sure.
be very, very sad.
Yeah.
Because again, like you just look at that and you're like, yeah, no manager can only win like 25% of his games in a year.
Yeah.
You know, because I would say that in Barcelona, like, can you have a manager win 25%? I mean, Xavi won more than 25%
Yeah.
of his games the first year.
Yeah. 100%.
So yeah, so I that would be the writing. That would be my thing. Is like I didn't have a hunch against people saying like he would get fired, like if the event happened. But I think it's calmed down because now it's over 5 games, 2 wins, 2 losses, and a draw is fair given who we lost to, who we've beaten, and who we've drawn to. So I
Yeah.
think that all kind of evens out there. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll just
Yeah.
see what happens the next stage. Can we keep that aggression? Can we learn from our mistakes? And can we be more clinical so we can start leading 1-0 more so we can play like this? So that's kind of
Yeah.
my vibe check here at United.
Sounds good to
So
me.
yeah, so let's go check the vibes over in Germany. How is the Wiener Schnitzel doing over there in the Bundesliga, Paul?
So you were making a reference to Wiener Schnitzel earlier, Andy, and
I
but
did
we're
make
gonna
a reference to the Wiener Schnitzels.
yeah, we're gonna talk about hamburgers though because Bayern ended up playing hamburger,
Mm.
not hamburger, hamburger. Yeah, is a
Oh, what
club
was
over there.
hamburger?
Yes, it is
The
literally
burger. It was
hamburger.
the burger
Yeah, yeah.
of
I
Pink
want to
Panther
buy an
fame.
hamburger. Like
The
yes,
hamburger.
the Pink
The
Panther.
burger.
Yeah, Steve Martin hit the Pink
God,
Panther. Yes, yep.
such an I think that's still such a funny scene.
It's so
Such
good.
a funny scene.
It's
But
so good.
continue.
Yeah,
Continue.
but anyway, so Bayern remains perfect with a 5-0 win over Hamburger and then a 4-1 win over Hoffenheim. They're cruising in the league right now, Andy. But
Wow.
Dortmund ended up keeping pace with them. They got a 2-0 win over Heidenheim and a 1-0 win over Wolfsburg. Leipzig is also in the mix with a win 1-0 over Mainz and 3-1 over Köln, which leaves
Well,
Bayern at 12, Dortmund at 10, and Leipzig at 9 in the league.
well, yeah, it's already bunching up at the top already. So, yep, Bayern are going to have. I think they're going to have their legs cut up or their work cut out for them. That's the word I'm looking for. The work is going to
They're going to
be
have their
cut out
work cut
for
out for
them.
them, not their
Yeah,
legs.
it took me a while. Not their legs. Yeah, we're not Dan Campbelling this. No, no, sir. It's just the work, not the kneecaps.
We're not
Just
nibbling
the
on
work.
any kneecaps.
Nibbling on kneecaps. Oh my god. Yeah.
For those
Oh,
of you listeners, we are recording this late because of scheduling issues. So please take these errors, these gifts and gaffs and everything of ours in stride here. So
please troll us for how we are doing with this. Please do.
It's so good. It's
So
so
that's
good.
what we have in Germany. Paul, continue on and talk about Spain for us.
Sure. So, looking at La Liga, Andy, Real Madrid, bad news for us Barcelona fans. They remain perfect. 2-1 win over Real Sociedad, 2-0 win over Espanyol. Atletico Madrid get a 2-0 win over Villarreal, but only end up drawing Mallorca 1-1. What that means for the standings, Real Madrid first with 15 points, Barcelona second with 13 points, Villarreal third with 10 points. And the biggest story here, Andy, Atletico Madrid only have 6 points from 5 games and are in 12th. Yikes.
How are they still in 12th with 6 points?
Um,
That seems higher than like for us because I think we're at 11th, but we have I want to say
7.
but we have 7. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
not too much of a difference there.
Yep.
Yikes.
There you go.
Yeah. That's
Yep.
kind of
Ooh, yeah. And then I don't know if you saw this, but Diego Simeone got into it with some Liverpool fans in the clash.
He did.
The
He
Champions
sure
League.
did.
There's history with Arne Slot. I don't know if you knew this. Back to the Feyenoord days
No, I
Arne
didn't.
Slot.
What's happening? What's the tea?
So the tea is that Diego Simeone and Arne Slot played a preseason game against each other. It was Atletico Madrid versus Feyenoord, I believe, at the time. And Diego Simeone was kind of doing his traditional thing, running up and down the sideline and like going crazy, and was almost on the field at one point during the preseason game. And Feyenoord ended up scoring a late goal to win in this preseason game. And apparently Simeone took exception to that or something, was kind of upset. And so in the post-game handshakes, Simeone refused to shake Slot's hand. And Slot was kind of laughing like, this is silly. Like, it's a preseason game kind of thing.
Yeah.
Simeone took
Yeah.
offense to that. It started this rivalry between the two. So they were kind of going at it the whole game. And then I don't know if it was before or after the Van Dijk goal for Liverpool in the Champions League, but it was at Liverpool and the fans were like right behind Simeone and the fans were just giving it to him as they should. Freaking hilarious. And Simeone took exception to it. So he turned around and is like almost trying to fight fans, like security's having to hold him back. It's this whole thing. I think Simeone's boiling over from everything going on with his season not starting as he was hoping it would.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
That's the tea. That's the tea.
Yeah. Some good tea there. I'm still in Arne Slot's camp over Diego Simeone.
Oh,
so
100%.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to change. So yeah.
Yep.
Well, sorry for him, but hey, he's got to figure that out. Yeah. Sorry, not. I think that's it. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
for sure.
boy. Oh boy. All right. Heading into Italy, Paul. I think big news coming out of Italy is two things from the Serie A, and then for us, the one thing from Serie C, with Napoli as the only undefeated team still.
Wow.
And they have a full 12 points of their 4 games that they have played.
Wow.
For that. So they're starting off strong from where they left off last year. Then the Derby della Capitale, which I think is one of the early. So this is one of the early renditions of a derby in Serie A of Roma versus Lazio, aka Nazio. What ended up happening is Roma wins with a goal from Pellegrini and then a red card from Lazio to secure the deal and secure Roma a win in the Derby della Capitale. In Serie C, Cosenza, after kind of a rough start in losing their games, has won a game and drawn a game to put us into 9th place in Serie C. That doesn't put us in the promotion or the playoffs, but what it does do is it keeps us where we're at, and you know what? That always feels nice after you've just gotten bounced the previous season. So
yes. Yeah, you
we
don't
will
want to keep
take
sliding.
that for now.
Stop
Very
the
much
slide.
so. Stopping the slide, and it looks like we're stopping the slide. Paul, let's head back to England in the Premier League. What is happening there?
Sure. So Liverpool ended up. Oh wow. I think I'm on. Am I on the wrong notes? I don't think I updated the Premier League notes. So, oops.
We can just skip over the Premier League and just say that.
Guess what? Liverpool's in first.
Yes. Perfect.
So,
yeah.
Liverpool's in first with 15 points. Arsenal in second with 10 points. Tottenham in third with 10 points. Bournemouth in fourth with 10 points. So they're all kind of right there, difference in goal differential. I don't know why that didn't save on my end, but I definitely wrote some stuff, but I don't know where it went. But
that's okay. The narrative you really guys care for is the United narrative, so that's the key.
Yeah,
right. Everybody following.
Yes,
right. Everyone. I just heard everyone in unison say right.
I just think the biggest surprise is Bournemouth, where they are in the league so far. I mean, I was not expecting them to be fourth after 5 games played.
Yeah. Sometimes it is just like the luck of the draw, but also like they've had a very tough schedule to the start too. I think they're like second or third in terms of who has the toughest schedule, and they've punched above their weight. So is it their set pieces? Is it their home field advantage potentially? And it's kind of a tough place to go play at Bournemouth. Not gonna lie, it can be tough. So maybe that's kind of factoring in.
Opening the season against Liverpool, then going to Wolves or playing against Wolves, Tottenham, Brighton, Newcastle. I mean, it's no cakewalk, that's for sure.
No, it is not. It is not. So, but they're finding a way. Let's see if that continues. I hope it doesn't, but let's see if it does.
Yeah.
All right, to the league that will rule them all, the Champions League. Paul, what is happening in that? And do we have a new kind of like Stade Brestois Ventneuf in the ring?
Yes, we do. We do. And they go by the name of Qarabag FC out of Azerbaijan, Andy. And they ended up
Mm,
upsetting Benfica 3-2, coming back from 2-0 down within the first 16 minutes. They
wow.
come back and upset Benfica. Huge win. First ever win by an Azerbaijani team in the Champions League. And it wasn't like penalties or anything like that, Andy. It was from the run of play, great
Hmm.
goals all around. And yeah, it's super shocking.
Yeah.
Super, super shocking
When
result.
I saw, it was like it was the longest trip that could ever be made in the Champions League, or it's been the longest trip made in the Champions League from one stadium to the other. Kind
Wild.
of feel bad. I feel bad because I met someone in Ireland. He was actually our jaunty cart driver, and he was a Celtic fan, and so he was not too happy with
Mm,
Qarabag, who beat Celtic to get into the Champions League.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so I feel for them on that.
Yeah, it's understandable, but I mean, they deserved it. They
They
deserved it.
do. They
I
won their
think
games and they keep going.
absolutely. Yeah, Liverpool needed a Van Dijk winner in the 90 plus second minute for a 3-2 win over Atletico Madrid. And then I think the craziest, most entertaining game that we have seen yet this year, Andy. 4-4 draw, Borussia Dortmund, Juventus. All 8 goals in the second half. Juventus gets
Wow.
at 90 plus 4 and 90 plus 6 goals to
Holy
get back
heck.
within one and then end up tying the game. It was nuts.
Holy heck. I have to go back and watch that now because
Yes. Yes.
to see more than 2 goals in a game, it feels like a treat. You see 8 in just one half. That's
Yes.
something else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
wow.
It was wild. It was like watching a tennis match. It was back and forth and back and forth and back and
Yeah,
forth. So
I'm sure you enjoyed that with your new tennis Yeti from Michigan State.
yes. Yes. Yes,
No
I did
shameless
indeed.
plugs there. No
No
shameless plugs
shameless
there.
plugs. Yes. Thanks, Dad, for getting that for me. Really appreciate it.
Nice,
So
nice,
but
nice.
yeah, that's kind of just the quick and dirty on the Champions League. I'm not going to go through all the teams and where their points are because there's so many teams and it's one game in. We'll kind of get to that as
Hmm.
more games play out, Andy. So
We
that is
shall.
our vibe check, our trip around Europe. Let's
Yeah,
get to our favorite segment. I'm going to open it up with
it
you first
is.
since I usually get to go first. I want to hear who your super sub and super dud of the week are.
All right. So my super subs is kind of my biggest troll job, I think, for super subs. I'm going to go for Andrey Santos and Jorgensen because of the red card from Roberto Sanchez. I can't even remember his name, but that's okay because he forgets how to play football with his red
Yes.
card. So
Yes.
those substitutions really changed the game for United,
For sure.
making it more defensive and having to swap out a outfield player to play as a goalkeeper so that so that Chelsea could still see us lose with a goalkeeper on the field there. So that was my super subs. Super dud. I'm going to go for the Ballon d'Or for somebody not having Scott McTominay the
Oh
winner.
my
I know you feel very
gosh.
differently, but I feel very strongly that Scotty Mick Too Hottie, McTominay, McTerminator, McFratum should have won the Ballon d'Or.
Oh my
You can always
gosh.
prove me wrong, and you know what, you may
Yeah,
be right in
I'm
your
going
head,
to.
but in my head, there's no other winner that no one deserved it more than Scott McTominay.
Oh my gosh. I think my super dud is
Paul,
going to be that ice cold take on the super dud.
fantastic. I don't think we've ever had a hot
Yes.
take be a super dud on that, but Paul,
No,
go for your
that's
super
true.
sub and super dud.
Yeah, so I'm going to here Marcus Rashford for powering Barcelona to the win in absence of Lamine Yamal against Newcastle with his brace. And I'm going with Kaschuk. I think I am pronouncing his name wrong for Qarabag.
Mm-hmm.
He came on the game and scored the 86-minute winner to put
Hard to
his
beat
team
that,
past
yeah.
Benfica. So,
Hard to beat
yeah, I
that.
don't
That's
know
a
how
pretty
he got his
super.
shot off. He was like amongst 3 players, back to the goal, quick turn, quick fire shot for the game winner. So
Yeah.
that is who I had for my super sub. Super dud. First part, Ballon d'Or robbery. The fact that Dembele was not in the top 10 for multiple categories, including like chances created, dribbles completed, things like that, was not the top goal scorer on the year, goals or assists, or in the Champions League. And just because his team won a treble, he gets to win the Ballon d'Or, I think is absolute robbery. And the
He,
fact
he,
that
he was the best player on
Raphinha,
the team.
I'll give him that. But he wasn't the best player in soccer last year, which is what the award is. So
Yeah.
it's, we can have a conversation about that later. But I think also the fact that Raphinha finishes fifth behind Vitinha.
That's low. That is low.
Behind Vitinha and Mo Salah is absolutely wild to me. Somebody who ties, if we just look Champions League, somebody who ties Cristiano Ronaldo's record and was inches away from breaking the record of most goals in the Champions League in a season. I mean, that in and of itself is a thing. I'm not going to get into all of his stats, but because we don't have the time for it, we'll talk about Ballon d'Or later when we have more time. But I think that's robbery. And then, actually, Supersub as well. Aitana Bonmati winning her third Ballon d'Or in a row, Andy. Best player in football right now. And I love seeing it. I love seeing it.
Happy to give it to a woman on this. So
yes.
This is that's awesome.
Yep. And then real quick, one last super dud. I think the Real Madrid Marseille game, Andy, I don't know if you saw this, but the phantom penalty given to Real Madrid. So if you remember in the Copa del Rey final last year, Barcelona Real Madrid, Valverde is trying to slide tackle on either Torres or Raphinha. I don't remember who it was. Ball ends up hitting his arm. His arm is above the ground, but he's going down to the ground. His arm, some people considered it a natural position for a slide tackle, right? So penalty wasn't given. Okay, fine, right? Same thing happens to Marseille. The defender is making a slide tackle. His arm is on the ground in a natural position for a slide tackle. Ball hits his arm. VAR gives a penalty. Well, referee gives a penalty and VAR confirms it. Like the double standard. And by the way, I saw this stat in the history of the Champions League and the European Championship. Real Madrid has like 430 penalties given to them. The next closest team has like 120. Riddle me this one, Batman.
Yeah.
Corruption much? It's just ridiculous.
That's pretty insane. That's a steep drop.
Yep.
That makes me ponder.
I'm upset at the lack of consistency. It's just like, and everybody who saw that play, pundits, talk show hosts, fans, literally everybody is saying this needs to stop. This needs to change. Like it's ridiculous. So I'm kind of hot at this point watching that, but I think we saw some great soccer over these last few weeks, Andy, and I cannot wait to see what happens the rest of the way.
Yep, I am too. And I can't wait to talk about it the rest of the way come next week, because I think we're going to end our podcast there. Thanks for hanging with us, guys. We'll be back next week with some more detailed analysis of the week's matches. But until then, I have been Andy. Paul has been Paul. And with that, I'm wishing you all a big old bye.